Hey guys, how you going? How's things? Markets picked up, largely in part due to this CPI print that we got. So let's have a look at this. So this is a Forex Factory. You can go and check out their calendar. Now, I have filtered this already just for the red and the orange stuff, which is the important thing. So we've just had the CPI announcement. These times here are local Brisbane time. The CPI forecast was for 0.4 month on month, and then 3.4 for the year, and then came in as expected for the year and slightly down on the month. Retail sales as expected, core CPI as expected. So this is a good thing in terms of markets because, you know, number one, they don't like things that are unexpected. So if this number was like up like majorly, then, you know, people would freak out and start selling and whatever. But if it was down like by a lot too, the market would react the other way. It would be in our favor, but very volatile. So unexpected stuff, you tend to see heaps of volatility in the stock market. And, you know, as long as things come in as expected, it could be up or down. The markets don't react that violently. So here's the bounce on Bitcoin that we got. In terms of the share market too, has been a strong reaction to that as well. So the stock market now is at all-time highs. So good news all around. What has that done to interest rate decisions or what the market's thinking going forward in terms of interest rate cuts? So on hold, so we're currently at, you know, 5.25%, 5.5%. That's what they think we're going to get in June. So there won't be any sort of rate cut sort of thing. See, in the blue here is what the market's estimating it's going to be. So there's like a 69% chance that it's going to stay where it is. And then here it's saying there's a 59% chance that we'll get a rate cut in August. So interesting times. At least it's not going up. So that's the main thing. We don't want to see interest rates going up. We want to see them actually staying level or coming down. If the market, if the wider economy is starting to cool off, there's more from a stocks point of view and a Bitcoin point of view, there's more chance that, you know, we'll get liquidity injected into the economy to, you know, revive it. But, you know, things as they are now are looking pretty good. Won't get any sort of meaningful rate cuts probably until the end of this year or the start of next year. In terms of crypto asset flows from CoinShares, we've got a little uptick here for the week after having like 4 weeks of money leaving. So it's good to see that money's coming back. So Grayscale got the exodus of Grayscale, which is, you know, par for the course really, because their investment vehicles have the highest fees. iShares, that's BlackRock, so lots of money coming into that, and Fidelity, which is good. Minor outflows from here. So for the month though, 170 is out weekly. It's starting to kick back in terms of flows from, you know, the crypto asset flows. Lots of money coming into Bitcoin and Solana. Lots of money leaving Ethereum. I'm not sure what multi-asset is, but they're losing a little bit into Ripple, nothing into Cardano, Polkadot a little bit. So the winners are Solana and Bitcoin, losers are Ethereum and whatever this multi-asset thing is. So, I mean, you can see this happening in real time in the ETH BTC chart. We'll go to the weekly. So here's the ETH BTC chart. It's been bearish for like the last 2 years. So this is September 22. It's been down only. Price has lost support and it's continuing on its way down. My bet is that we will at least tag the 618, which of this entire move. We're almost there. So we'll just zoom in. There it is here. So that's at like 0.043. So that lines up with this little bit of price action here, which was back in January 21. If you look at it on the monthly though, you could you could argue that it might go even lower, like to about here. So probably somewhere in this region. As you can see, like here, like even with the RSI, it's still quite high. So you want to see it come down and then back up, where the bulls are starting to come back in. So right now, bears are in control. That should be obvious. Things aren't looking good for the ETH strength against Bitcoin. Let's look at ETF flows as a whole. So this is from Farsight Investors. We've had some positive flows the last 2 days, so that's good. GBTC, nothing out on the 13th, and 50 mil out yesterday, or the 14th, which is 2 days ago. This thing comes out 24 hours delayed. So the action happens, and then those funds report the figures, and then they get released the next day. So this thing is always trailing. But yeah, looks good. We've got 3 days of positive flows here, couple of negative. Overall, though, positive inflows. You want to see that, but you want to see this too. So this will help push Bitcoin up. And if Bitcoin goes up, then the rest usually follows. That's good. More Bitcoin charts. Let's have a look at this one. This is the Bitcoin index performance since cycle lows. So cycle lows in this case being 16K. So the black line is the current cycle. The blue one, that's the one that we just had where, FTX blew up. The green one, that's the ICO cycle of 2017. And the orange one, that's the very first one. And then the red one is 2011 to 2015. So they're probably anomalies because they're so early. If we remove those and just look at the ICO cycle and then the FTX blow up cycle, things look to be on track. Like we are ahead of schedule. I mean, you sort of get that feeling. Like if we go back to here, I mean, the ramp up is pretty violent here. So it makes sense that this would be ahead, but we're starting to come back down in line with previous cycles. It'll be interesting to see if the pattern continues though. So as you can see, if I put this back in, well, maybe not this one. Let's get rid of that one. But it did peak early, right? So this one is, in terms of percentage-wise, the first run-up was, huge multiples, and then there was less and less again. Do we see that again? So do we see the black line, go to where the blue is, or do we see it just do less multiples than before? Be interesting to see. Right now we're ahead of schedule. So, but everything, it's in the ballpark. So everything's fine. Even if we pulled back to, the 50s, we would still be in the mix. So everything looks good there. Stablecoin net position change. So this is all about how much Tether and USDC and all the other variants. Like there's USDT on Tron. That's all calculated separately. So that's all combined in this red line. The more stable coins in the system, higher prices. We can see here, stable coins go up, price goes up. Stable coins go down, price goes down. So we're starting to see a dip here. Just zoom in on this area. It's coming down, but nothing crazy. But it's in line with price now. So stable coins go up, price goes up. Price goes down, stable coins follow. Well, or is it the other way around? Who knows, right? So it is dipping a bit, but we have just seen the good news out of the inflation stuff. So we might see price go up, and then more liquidity comes into the system. So this red line should continue to go up. If price goes up and the red line continues to go down, then that's not good. Something's amiss. Next one, this is the MVRV-Z score. Basically, this will tell you, it's like a good cycle top indicator. So if the orange line gets into the red section, consider selling or scaling out. Green sections are for buying. We are way off. We are way off being peak. So how can it be used? The score has historically been very effective at in identifying periods where market value is moving unusually high above its realized value. All right, so the realized value, which is the blue line, this average here, rather than taking the current price of Bitcoin, realized value takes the price of each Bitcoin when it was last moved. All right, so, and then they make like an oscillator out of it. So when the realized price is getting high, meaning people are moving Bitcoin on chain, likely to sell it, you can start saying, well, people are taking profits now. So right now it's quite low and it's away from price. So that's a good thing. So we're all good with that one. Price cycle top hasn't crossed yet. This is, it's a price cycle. Well, the price cycle top and bottom indicator is an adaptation of the price cycle top chart. It's the 111-day moving average and 2 times the 350-day moving average. So it's just a simple moving average cross. The thing with it is it is picked at the bottom and the top of the market almost to the day. So here's where it crossed. If I just zoom in here, you can see where it crossed there. There's the market top. Sorry. That's where it crossed back underneath. So here's where it crossed above. So the orange line crosses above the green one. There's the top. So you want the fast moving average, which is the 111-day moving average, which is the orange one, going above the slow one, which is the 350-day, which is the green in this example. And it did it here. Not the absolute peak, but, you know, within a few days, pretty good. Now, some have argued that the actual top on the last market cycle, because we double topped, it was actually here. But, I mean, for a moving average system, this is pretty accurate. You're not that far off. You also have the counter argument that because this was heavily manipulated by FTX, then it's not real. Because, you know, this could have gone up further, or this was pushed up too high, or this one was, you know, FTX manipulation, not real market, right? At the moment, if we look at the lines are way apart, so this isn't crossing this anytime soon. So we good. Short-term holder realized price. So this is all the holders that hold Bitcoin less than 155 days. What is the value of Bitcoin at that time on average? So it's currently at 60K. If you look back in history, you can see that this kind of acts like support and resistance. So on the way up, it acts as support. And then on the way down here, it acts as resistance. If it starts getting out of whack on this, there's something up. So this was a COVID dump and it quickly regained that level. Price is hanging around this level, so that's good. We're all good here. Everything's hunky-dory. This is the opposite of that. This is the long-term holder realized price. So this kind of acts like an absolute floor. This is the one that shows holders that have holding Bitcoin cold storage greater than 155 days. When was the last time that they moved their coins on average? And the price here is 18K and we're at 60, we're above 60, right? When you start seeing this line tick up, that means coins from cold storage are being moved, likely to sell, right? So if this starts going up, that means people are moving and selling. Average price is coming up towards all-time highs. This thing is lagging, as you can see. Like all-time highs have always been well before this peaked, but the point is that if this starts going up and you haven't sold yet, it could be a good idea to start thinking about it. The line currently is dead flat, so everything's cool. People that have the diamond hands are not doing anything. Dead flat. It's even going down. So we're good. All right, let's check some flows, some DeFi flows now. So where is all the money in the ecosystem going? This is for the last 30 days. Ethereum is losing the most in terms of liquidity. So almost 3 billion is leaving. So out of the entire amount that's left or moved across bridges and things, 89.2% of it has come out of Ethereum. Most of that is going into Arbitrum, Base. What do we got? Optimism. It's easier to see down here. So the net flows for Arbitrum has got the most, $768 million. So 90% of that inflow has come from Ethereum, and barely anything from anywhere else. So it looks like most people are just shuffling money around within the Ethereum ecosystem. Inflows into and out of Solana are quite minimal. 80 million of inflows and 30 million of outflows. So a net inflow of 50 million. Yeah, all the action is in the Ethereum ecosystem. All this money is moving out of the layer 1 and into the various layer 2s. Nothing out of the ordinary there, but it is quite stark how much activity there is leaving Ethereum, and then just nothing much else is happening. In terms of weekly fees, there's still a lot of activity. Base layer Ethereum is still the chain that has the most fees, but that's also because Ethereum is the most expensive chain. But still tops at 17 million, and you got Bitcoin at 12. Tron, which is mainly used for USDT, that's 9 million. Then you got Solana at 9.3. So they're basically identical. That's almost 3 times the volume that Binance Smart Chain's got. Avalanche, Near, Polygon, they haven't even cracked 1 million. So activity mainly, Ethereum. The gas fees on Ethereum are actually quite low at the moment. They're only 4 Gwei, so not much activity. Everything's on layer 2s now. Is DEX activity for the last 7 days. Uniswap still the king. Uniswap is now deployed on 7 chains, and it's doing $8.2 billion in volume. Half of that, then we got PancakeSwap, and then another half again is Orca and Radium. So Orca and Radium combined is almost 4, so that's about as much as what PancakeSwap's doing. Uniswap's doing twice that. You'll notice that Jupiter is not here. That's because Jupiter doesn't have its own pools, right? So Jupiter routes its trades mainly through Orca and Radium, and sometimes Meteora. It just really depends on the liquidity. Meteora, biggest change in weekly volume. There's a lot of new pools being put up on Meteora. They also have got a point system too happening because they're going to be releasing a token eventually. So lots of people are mucking around with that. It's a concentrated liquidity protocol. So Radium is like the normal Uniswap style V2 pools. Meteora is similar to Orca. So they're V3 pools, but they're more complicated. Well, complicated in a good way, because you can be more, within the price bands, you can have a curve if you like. So it's not just like a block of price. So it's evenly distributed between, the low and the high max range. You can have a curve, so like a standard deviation sort of curve, where you can concentrate it within the middle of the range, and then it sort of peters out towards the ends if you want to do something like that. That sort of shape is good for stablecoins. All the action is Solana and PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap's now on, looks like 9 chains, so they've branched out from just Binance Smart Chain, which is good to see. Good to see. Have competition. Let's finish off with a bit of price. So the CPI print, as what I talked about before, that's sent the markets rocketing up. It's bounced off that top that we saw here. Not unexpected. Makes sense when you look at it on the chart. Things were looking dicey before. People were calling for 50s, like down here, which would totally make sense. It's a good area. This is where the EMAs and this sort of stuff's lining up. But it looks like the inverse head and shoulders has played out, and we could see continuation. So, it wouldn't be unheard of that we come back down to here and go. Yeah, it really depends on if we get follow through or not, whether we go up or down and then up. But I don't see a major reversal, to be honest. Look at a couple of other charts. ETH looks super weak compared to Bitcoin. You can see that in, I've already mentioned the weakness of ETH versus Bitcoin. So I mean, if you look at the Solana chart versus the ETH chart, it's night and day. Like the Solana chart and the Bitcoin chart look similar. So there's a, where is it? Here, there's an inverse head and shoulders playing out here. So that's looking good for more up. The Solana ETH, we'll go to the weekly so we can see what's happening. The Solana ETH chart has just been bullish, majorly bullish since breakpoint. So the Solana conference, which was here, it's just been non-stop up since then. So fully expecting this to break 0.055 sooner rather than later. Pepe has been on an absolute tear. You're going to see this pattern in a few charts. So this is where you've got this rounded bottom happening. But again, you can see, inverse head and that's really badly drawn, but you can see the inverse head and shoulders happening and it's broken out of that. Whether that comes back or not, wouldn't be surprised. That could come back here, then shoot off. The market needs to digest what's happened over the past couple of days. It's been a crazy couple of days. Roaring Kitty's back. He's shilling everyone with his memes. Video memes, like it seems to be every hour there's a new video meme. Go check him out on Twitter to see what he's been putting up there. But the GME, like actual GME stock and AMC in the stock market has been rallying quite hard. Bonk is a similar setup. As you can see, like the shape of this is the same as what Pepe's got. Floki is also similar. SHIB also similar. So if you're playing, like SHIB's starting to break out now, if you're seeing correlation like this and something is already pumped, generally things start to follow. So Floki's broken out. That's come out too. Doge doesn't really look as like it does with the others, but you can kind of make out a inverse head and shoulders, but I don't count out the king. All right, so this is Jupiter, which is, the biggest DEX on Solana. Well, I shouldn't really say that. It's the biggest aggregator. They do have their own stuff in terms of perps, and they've got good features with limit orders and dollar cost averaging, but yeah, they don't have their own pools. Not that really matters to the end user. Everybody trades through Jupiter and the liquidity comes from elsewhere. So, things are looking good for Jupiter. Could see this ascending triangle play out. Like if Solana rockets, you're going to see green lights all over the Solana ecosystem. Pith, now the thing with Pith, we'll get rid of these lines because they're old. The thing with Pith is that there's this huge lockup unlocking from the sale in the tokenomics. Right? So people have been selling this down the entire time because of that lockup is coming up, or the unlock is coming up, sorry. So that means there's going to be extra tokens in circulation. On top of that, there was this airdrop meta that kind of hasn't really eventuated that much. There's been maybe 1 or 2 airdrops and then, hasn't really worked out. Same thing's happening with Celestia. There was an airdrop meta for Celestia. People locked up all their tokens and then, airdrops just never eventuated. And I mean, it's fine if you got in early and locked up here, but most of the activity and hype was here. So people, if they're still locked, they can't sell. So they're in a hole. Dimension is another candidate for the same thing. So where they're locking and up for trying to get airdrop rewards and stuff like that. It's not good. The wormhole token also not looking great. I mean, this is just another airdrop token. I think the meta for this cycle is that, this is why meme coins are going so well, because they're just sick of the predatory tokenomics, really. I mean, getting these things via airdrops is fine, but buying in to a new token once it's released, or like on the first couple of days, is silly. It's suicide. You're going to have all these people that get airdrops just dumping on you, plus VCs with their allocations dumping on you until the market sort of levels out. There's no point. The whole low float, high FDV thing, I think most of the market is smart to it now, so we're not falling for it. So If you get these things via an airdrop, great. Yeah, just don't buy them until you see some decent market structure. I mean, we might be seeing something here, like 50 cents might be the floor for this. Although I do see, like, you know, you could argue for that sort of bear flag thing, but I mean, if Solana has strength, I don't see that happening personally. So I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed that quick market wrap up. Lots of things I went through. The next time I do it, it'll be less explanation and more just going through the numbers. Yeah, have a good one. Stay safe. Hold. The bull market's not over yet. So keep holding, and I'll see you in the next one.